guys, it's Nikki and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching today's comparison video of Disney Cruise Line and celebrity cruises. I think you're going to be shocked to hear what I have to say, so let's get started. Foremost, I do want to apologize for my raspy voice. I kind of lost it yesterday and we're just gonna roll with it. Second thing, we do need to give a moment for these adorable Disney Cruise Line ears for the 25th anniversary. These used to be on Shop Disney. If they still are, I will leave them linked down below. But at first, you could only buy these on any of the Disney Cruise Line ships that were celebrating the 25th anniversary, which was all of them. And they also had a backpack and a couple of other items as well. I wasn't going to originally get these, and then I was having a little bit of FOMO, so grabbed them once they hit Shop Disney. And I thought they would be the perfect ears for today's video. On my channel, I did cruise on the Disney Wish 2 times last year. I am still just itching to go back on a cruise. They are so much fun. I originally went on my first Disney cruise when I was a lot younger, and then my husband and I went on one last year, and then I went on one with my mom as well. And then over Thanksgiving we went on a celebrity cruise with like whole family. Great time, so much fun. It was very relaxing. I didn't vlog a ton. I did one vlog about our just like whole cruise as a whole, and I'll leave all of my cruise playlist link down below, just like our celebrity cruises videos that I have done, and then all of my Disney Cruise Line. I have done a lot of Disney cruise videos, so if you are interested in going on a Disney cruise or booking a Disney cruise, make sure you check those description down below. Today's video, we are going to jump into a couple of different categories. So first we're going to talk about cleanliness, and then we're going to go talk about service, food, drinks, activities, and then just like overall ship, overall vibes, see how we're doing. And then at the end I will share just like who I like more. No, it's not even who I like more, it's like who would I want to cruise more with. I guess that's the correct way to say it. Let's start with one of the more important things for me personally, and that's cleanliness. I wouldn't say that I am like a germaphobe or like a neat freak, but when okay, so let's start with cleanliness, because I feel like that is for me one of the more important things. I wouldn't say that I'm like a germaphobe or like a neat freak. I clean my home when it needs to be cleaned, but it's not like top priority for us all the time. However, when I then go to travel somewhere, I want it to be spectacular, spotless. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because I view it as like I'm paying for a service for us to go there, and we want it to be enjoyable and to be clean. So for Disney Cruise Line, I will say that was the one thing that really stood out to us, is that everything was so clean all the time. Like, there wasn't a moment during our Disney cruises that I was like wondering like, oh, when was the last time that was cleaned, or worried about like walking without like shoes on the pool deck, or just being like in the shower in our stateroom. That kind of stuff, like, I don't have to think about. I'm going on vacation, you're going on vacation for a good and relaxing time. The last thing you want to think about is like the dirtiness that you are currently looking at. So with Disney Cruise Line, I feel like that is just something they're always on top of. I will say the resorts on Disney, while they are very clean and I've never had a massive issue, it's not as a top priority as it was before COVID. Before COVID, you would have like room attendants cleaning your room every day, unless you're a DVC, and it was just like spectacular all the time at the resorts. Sometimes I feel like the resorts might be getting a little rushed, and that could be just because of staffing issues. And while I do appreciate being able to get into our rooms early, I would rather have it be like spotless and super duper scrubbed up clean. So Disney Cruise Line, absolutely wonderful, and they do take great care of you that entire cruise in your stateroom, always making sure like it's spotless. They're always like picking up things for you. I know some people get kind of like weird when they come back in their room and like their pajamas are folded. That doesn't really bother me. If there is anything that I wouldn't want them to have to deal with or like put away, I always make sure like our dirty clothes were already put away in our suitcase or a drawer, wherever that was at. We're never gonna leave that out. At the end of the day, they are a human that is taking care of you, so you do want to be respectful of them and obviously tip them accordingly at the end. But they always are making sure that you are taken care of. We saw our room host at least twice a day, depending on how many times we went back to our room, if not more. And this is probably not true, but I feel like they have cameras in the hallways. They easily could, because whenever we would like pop in to our room for a second, I feel like as we were leaving, like there is our room host checking in, making sure we had everything, if we needed anything, and they're just like always on top of it. And that goes a little bit more into the service aspect of it too. But again, that person is always cleaning your room, always making sure everything is spotless. Our first impressions going into our room are wonderful. It was just so fun to be able to see the Disney Wish for the first time. Granted, this is a brand new ship, but it still felt like a brand new ship. We didn't get there and there were like marks on the walls, or like the air conditioning unit wasn't working. Everything was working wonderfully, and the bathrooms were clean. The Disney ships have those split bathrooms, which is a game changer. So just overall, the Disney Cruise Line ship is just cleaner. Dining rooms are wonderful. Public restrooms around the ship are great. Just everything is very thought out when you are cruising with Disney Cruise Line. Now with Celebrity, without just being straight up rude, I feel like it's the complete opposite. And there's one major reason why I'm gonna say it probably is. So on the Disney ships, you might get into your room around, I think it was like 2 o'clock that we could go into our staterooms. Each ship and like turnover is different. So if you're cruising on Disney Cruise Line, it might be earlier, it might be later. It solely depends on that individual ship and how quickly they got the other guests off for the previous sailing. For Celebrity, I was very surprised by this. They got us on the ship within 10 minutes. So that means our boarding group really didn't matter, and anyone can show up to the ports. Obviously, when I mean anyone, like you have to be on the sailing, but you can get to the port and just go right on the ship. We didn't wait in like the little area, the welcome center, and we just legitimately walked on the ship. We booked our way through security. There was no one at like the passport and like C-Pass check. And then we got on the ship and then immediately were directed to do our muster drill. So it was just like shocking how quickly everything happened. And then we were welcomed to go straight to our room. That is what was just like, what? So this at this point, it was probably like 11:45-ish. I went into more detail about like how quickly that was in our Celebrity Cruise Line vlog. Celebrity Cruise Line vlog, I show like how quickly it actually was, but that is like problem number one, is because they just like were flushing people in on that ship so quickly that I don't really think the stateroom hosts have a lot of time to turn those rooms over. We were able to drop off our bags and we grabbed our C-Pass card so then we can like go get beverages if we wanted. And so that was like the first, like, oh, okay, we're already in our room. And granted, they do have like a little sign that said like, oh, cleaning still in progress. Drop your bags and then go and explore the ship. To me though, that is like, oh, okay, so they are not really paying attention to the small details of cleaning. Our overall space in the stateroom was fine. It was like, there was nothing that stood out to me like, oh, that is still dirty, until we got into the shower. I'm pretty confident that our shower was not cleaned. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to go into like some nasty details. But that was the one thing, again, like I said, we're on vacation. If you're on vacation, I don't want to have to worry about that. I don't want to have to think like, oh, that's not, like, that's gross. And I want to be able to enjoy my time. And it's a luxury to be able to go on cruises, and it is like overall a nice ship. And so I want to be able to feel that in all aspects. The ship is like their oldest on the fleet, but it was redone, I believe, in 2019. But it's still like, it's just the small details that other companies miss that Disney does not. And then just the overall cleanliness of the ship, it was fine. The pool area was gross, and there was just like hair, other things, like everything on like the pool deck and the showers that were on the pool deck. And again, it's just like, it's those types of things where when I'm walking from like our lounge chair to the pool, I don't want to have to look on the ground and be like, I feel like I should have flip-flops on right now. And like, that's the big thing with like Disney. Everything is just like spotless. There's people cleaning constantly, and it's just like the, again, I've said this 100 times now, but it's the extra attention to detail that Disney has, and I would say Celebrity Cruise just didn't. So going into those extra details, and now we're going to chat about service. So overall, I don't think it's like even fair to compare anyone to Disney when it comes to service. Disney is always going to be the top tier in the service industry, in my opinion, and probably a lot of others, because of their attention to detail, their empathy, and their caringness towards their guests to truly make sure that they have a great time. If anyone ever goes on a Disney vacation and has a problem or is experiencing an issue, Disney is going to do their best to try and fix that, make sure that you are taken care of in any way that they can. Some things happen and it's totally out of their control and it's not even their fault, but they don't look at it like that. They're going to look at it as, you are our guest and we are going to make sure that whatever we can do for you to make your trip the most magical, they are going to do for you. So when it comes to your stateroom host, they are always there to assist you. Like I mentioned, I feel like they just like pop up out of nowhere and I'm like, oh, where did they come from? Like, I didn't even see them over there. They remember your names, which I wonder how many like guest rooms each stateroom host has, because they always knew our names. They knew our names when we were on the ship right away. And think of how many like sailings they have, and we got on the ship and they already knew, oh, that's Jackson and Nikki. And so it's just like, it's really fun and like cool to see. Granted, we did have magnets with our names on our doors, so that was probably a lot easier for them to be like, okay, that is them. But overall, the stateroom host and what they do for you is just, again, the little extra things, making sure that you have everything in your room that you need. When they like wound up our little chargers and put like the little thing to keep them together, like, that is freaking adorable. And it's just like little stuff like that you wouldn't even think of that just make your day like a little bit brighter, and they're going to do that throughout the entire ship. Your hosts, your activity hosts, and your entertainment hosts, and your servers at dinner and breakfast. And that's what's also kind of cool, is you do have like the same servers, and so when you see them at breakfast or lunch, they're gonna come up and be like, hey, how was your day? And they're gonna talk to you. And granted, again, they are working and you are going to tip them at the end. And so when you do feel like you have that personal relationship with them, you probably are going to be willing to tip them a little bit more. But it's just a lot more of that like personalized experience than you're gonna get anywhere else. For celebrity cruises, I wouldn't say the service was like, holy smokes, that's terrible. I feel like we did it a couple of those times. And again, they do have like the same servers, but there's only like one dining option. So by the end of our cruise, we were kind of over the dining. And then we'll get into the food and drinks, but for celebrity, you do have drink packages. And they just constantly asked you that first day, like, oh, do you want to upgrade? Do you want to upgrade? Do you want to upgrade? It's like, no, we do not. No, we do not. No, we do not. And so on celebrity, it really felt more like a cash grab, honestly, than I would ever feel on a Disney cruise. So celebrity, you do have the option to get a drink package, and then you have one main dining area at the Cosmopolitan, I'm pretty sure it was called, and that's like your free option for dinner. The Cosmopolitan, they do have a ton of other restaurants on board, but all of those are at an upcharge. And then you have your just generic foods that are going to be there for breakfast and lunch and dinner in like the buffet area. So nothing that is like super spectacular, but the service, it just wasn't great. You could just tell that the people just weren't really into it, at least in our experience. And again, no one is going to like go above and beyond for you to try and make your cruise extra special and just a little bit more fun. Did go to the spa and we went into the Parisian Gardens. So my mom and I went on the Wish and we did the rainforest room. Amazing, so freaking cool. And we were really excited to experience the rainforest room on the celebrity cruise, and that was like the Parisian Garden. It was fun. I'm glad we did it because it was just something fun to do, but definitely wouldn't do it again when sailing on the Summit because it was very small. It didn't even work one of the days, and so it was just like a little disappointing comparing it to the Disney Wish option. I did actually get my toes done. I got them painted, and that was a fun experience. All of the spa team members were very nice and everything like that, but again, just nothing that was like uber spectacular. I feel like there was one thing that happened. I can't remember exactly what it was, so obviously it wasn't a super big deal, but I just remember thinking like, oh, if this was a Disney anything, that would have been handled a little differently. And again, is it fair to compare Disney service versus anyone else? Probably not, but it is the same business, and that's what sets Disney apart. Now let's jump into food and drinks. So for the food, Disney definitely 13 out of 10. Absolutely amazing. If you are not aware, you do a rotational dining. So you have a different restaurant every single night with your same servers, different menus across the board. However, if you did really enjoy something, like especially your kiddo at the night before, you can ask for that menu. Just, I would give them a heads up if you're going to do that, because they'll just have to communicate with the kitchen. They would just have to communicate with the kitchen staff on getting you those items. So just give them a heads up if that's something you are going to do. But it was absolutely amazing. The quality of food is delicious. You are going to get very unique items that you're not going to find anywhere else. And again, they are going to cater towards your food allergies or anything that you need. On Celebrity, I would give the food a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was just very bleh. Nothing really stood out to me, honestly, besides the chocolate cake and the ice cream in our main dining. We had chocolate cake in like the buffet area for lunch one day, and we're like, oh, was this the same as the dinner? And it was not. It was gross and dry. But for the dinners, you only are able to go to one restaurant that is included. They do have a ton of extra specialty restaurants on board, but those are an extra cost. So you do only get that one option. The Cosmopolitan overall, the Cosmopolitan overall was okay atmosphere. Nothing was like exciting going on. You literally were just sitting down and having dinner. The menu was different every night, but again, nothing like super spectacular stood out to us during that dinner. Next time, if we would sail on Celebrity or even just like another different cruise line, I would not go to dinner every night, and I would just go to the buffet or the pool bar and then be able to explore the ship more. That dinner time definitely takes a lot of time out of your evening, and so when it's nothing spectacular, I would just pass and go get something else. For the drink packages, Disney does not offer a drink package. However, all sodas and like coffees are included, and obviously water too. Not the bottled water, but just like regular water that they have there for you. However, anything with alcohol or like specialty smoothies or anything like that is extra that you would have to pay for. The prices though for each of those items are not outrageous. First Disney cruise that we went on, we didn't know how we would feel just like being at sea, and so we didn't want to have any like alcoholic beverages just to make sure like our bodies were okay first. And then as we like got into the cruise, we ended up having some, and we were really shocked by how like they're not like insanely cheap like if you would purchase it yourself, like buying the bottle of wine or like buying Captain and Morgan and making your own beverage, but they weren't crazy like you would find like at Walt Disney World. For Celebrity Cruise, they do offer drink packages. So you have your classic drink package and your premium drink package. You do, I would say, have to get at least the classic. See, because this is including all like sodas. If you want a Diet Coke and you don't have a drink package, then you have to pay for that Diet Coke individually. I'm not sure what the prices were on those items because we had the classic drink package, but I would be interested to see how many times like we got a beverage and then what that price was. We should have kept track of that. But again, we were just like, oh yeah, I'll just go grab a Diet Coke, and then if you didn't finish it, it wasn't like that big of a deal because we had already paid for our package. That's like the biggest difference between Disney Cruise Line and all other cruise lines, is they don't offer that drink package. The drink packages were fun. We were just able to like, if we wanted a beverage, we could go get a beverage and we didn't have to worry about it. But again, I think all of the other aspects of a Disney Cruise Line outweigh the need for a drink package. While we do like to have a nice beverage, I'm totally cool with buying that individually in the moment than having to worry about if my shower is clean or if the service is nice or if there's enough activities going on the ship for me. So while the drink package was nice and I know everybody in our party really did enjoy that, it is not like a win-lose situation for me personally. So now let's jump into the activities of the ship. So let's start with Celebrity this time. So Celebrity doesn't have a ton of things going on during the day. So we spent a lot of our time at the solarium, which is like an indoor pool area. I think technically it is supposed to be for 16 and up. We really did enjoy that. And then it got kind of crazy with a really loud, massive group of people. Like I think they were a big family. And again, that's another thing. Like if that would have happened on a Disney Cruise Line, there would have been a cast member there immediately asking them to either like quiet down or leave the area. It was supposed to be a very nice, quiet area. And let's just say they were racing in the very small pool that they had. So that wasn't it. But then they had like the spa area, a workout center. But other than that, the activities really weren't around until later in the evening. They did have different trivias and like bingo and music, but that was later in the evening. They really didn't have a lot going on during the day. is a smaller ship, so they didn't have a lot of like different little small lounges and bar areas. They did have a couple that we really did enjoy, and we did like an adult coloring one time. That was honestly really fun, and there were a lot of people there. But that was pretty much the only activity we ever did like during the day, honestly. They didn't have a ton that was offered. And then when it comes to Disney Cruise Line, that's the complete opposite. We didn't spend a ton of time at the pool because there was so much to do, so much to explore, so much to experience, that we didn't want to miss out by just like laying around at the pool, right? Granted, I wish we like, there's always gonna be that moment of, oh, it's gonna be like, oh, I wish we spent more time doing this, or like, I wish we spent more time doing that. But hopefully if you are able to go back, then you can just experience those different things again. Especially on a large ship like the Disney Wish, the one that we went on. There's just so many decks and so many like little small nooks and crannies that the first time we went on, I was almost like lost because I didn't ever know. Like by our third day, I'm like, okay, I know where we're going. So then our second cruise that I went on with my mom, I was really able to like direct us, like, okay, this is where we need to go. The quickest way to here is this way, or this is on deck 4, or whatever it was. So if anything, make sure you study the decks of the ship before you get on. I kind of did that with Celebrity a little bit because I knew going into the ship that, okay, this is gonna be our first time on there. We need to know at least semi what is going on. But then once we got on the ship, at first I was like, I feel like we haven't really explored the ship, but in all honesty, there really wasn't much to Disney Cruise Line. Obviously, a lot of people are going to say it's directed to families, but I went with my husband on one of our cruises and then my mom on my next, and we honestly had so much to do. They have an adult area. All of the activities are geared towards all types of people, so I wouldn't say there was one activity where we're like, oh, we can't go to that because we don't have any children with us. Not at all. It's 100% for all people of all ages. It's not just like families. I would say it's just all ages. And then they do have those things that are 18 and plus, or just the adult area that you're able to go and enjoy. So Disney obviously takes the cake for activities and things to do around the ship. Celebrity, I would say for us in general, was a little bit more relaxing, just for the fact that there wasn't a lot to do. So hanging out at the solarium, being at the pool was a fine option for us. So now let's just talk about the overall vibes of the ship. And in all honesty, you can't really compare them because the Disney Wish is brand new and the Celebrity Summit is their oldest ship in the fleet. So while it has been renovated, I still didn't feel like it was, oh my gosh, like so spectacular like the Disney Wish. Again, it's Disney, so I understand that, but the Disney Wish is just like spectacular. Every part of the ship is just so well taken care of, and the Summit is not. Oh, sorry, but it's not. And would I sail on Celebrity cruises again? Probably. There wasn't like one thing that was like, oh my gosh, this was such an awful experience, we will never sail Celebrity again. But now looking back on it, I wouldn't want to sail on the Summit again. I would want to do a different ship. We picked the Summit because that was the ship that was sailing for the dates that we needed. We wanted to go over Thanksgiving because it was my mom's 60th birthday. And then like going over Thanksgiving allows us to not to have to take as many days off. So it just like worked out. But looking at the other ships in the Celebrity cruise like fleet, I definitely would want to experience one of those next time, or even Royal Caribbean. They're like sister companies. And so while we liked our experience on the Celebrity cruise, we wouldn't want to go on the Summit again, and we definitely wouldn't go to dinner in the dining every night either. We would get the drink package again, but hopefully on a larger ship they would just have more activities and things to do. I didn't mention this, but Celebrity and Disney both have entertainment at night, or Disney like theater shows and entertainment. Absolutely wonderful. We missed the last one, or I missed the last one on both of my cruises, because by that time, like, it was our last night and there was just so much we wanted to do, and then I'm pretty sure we were just like exhausted and we're like, you know what, I just cannot go sit through another show. But I know the Aladdin one is like really awesome. Next time for sure we'll go see that. And then Celebrity Cruise Theater Show. They were interesting. The first night was a comedian and he was awful. The things he was like thinking were funny were not funny, and it was just not great. And then we went again for the second night and it was like Broadway music or something like that. Let's just say that was the last night we went. I was like, this isn't, like, not for me. Wasn't too thrilling, honestly, and just like wasn't our vibe. So we opted out to do that, and we just went and found like trivia to do, which honestly that was fun to do. They did have trivia, a couple of trivia options during the day as well, but the same. They either had like trivia or like music, sports, or whatever it was. But on Disney Cruise Line, they offer like tons of different fun activities throughout the day on the pool deck, depending on where you're at. So okay, finally, let's talk pricing really quickly. So Disney Cruise Line is always going to be like your highest tier, most likely, depending on what you add on to the Celebrity Cruise ship. If you upgrade your different packages, if you do the like extra dining, then that like can all balance out. For me personally, Disney Cruise Line, you get what you pay for. You know you're going to have a spectacular experience. You know service is going to be great. You know you're going to be taken care of. And so to me, Disney Cruise Line personally always will win for me. Granted, I know it's going to be more expensive. However, for Celebrity, we were seeing concierge, and I still have no idea what we actually got. I know you could like pick a different pillow. They gave you binoculars and an umbrella in your room, and we got like a gold car instead of blue. Beats me. There was nothing that stood out to me that was like concierge. I know concierge from like Disney Cruise Line. Well, I've never stayed concierge. I know people who have stayed concierge. I've watched YouTube videos of people staying concierge, and that was not it for Celebrity Cruise. So next time I would want to stay in the Aqua class, because that includes the Parisian Gardens and like a couple of other things that you can do in the spa. But again, then that's going to be more money. So while Disney Cruise Line is always looked at, oh, it's the most expensive, yes, but more is probably included than you actually think that you're going to have to end up paying for on a Celebrity or a Royal. I've never been on Royal Caribbean, and I would absolutely love to go on a Royal Caribbean cruise just to be able to experience that. And I know their cruises are a little bit cheaper. They have like newer ships, so many activities to do on those ships, so that would be really fun to experience. So pricing overall, Royal, and I'll link Royal with Celebrity Cruise, is going to be a little bit cheaper than Disney, but the overall vibes, personally, cleanliness, service, food is going to be so much better on a Disney cruise. So it really is, you get what you pay for, and it's like just up to you on what type of experience you want to have. Guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching this comparison video with Disney Cruise Line and Celebrity Cruises, specifically the Summit and the Disney Wish. I hope you have a magical rest of your day. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and you're subscribed to the channel for lots of magical moments here at home and at the theme parks. If you have any questions about Disney Cruise Line or even Celebrity, make sure you throw those in the comments down below. But I will see you real soon. Bye.